All right, so we have Cameron Newell here, University of California, Santa Barbara, baseball senior. He was a player of the year up in Alaska this past summer, 2014. Expected to go to the June 2015 Major League Baseball draft as an outfielder. So, Cameron, ask you a couple quick questions here. It's Happy New Year, number one, to you and your family.
Happy New Year.
And also, two, what was your impression going into the ARPwave?
I didn't know a lot about the ARP coming into this whole thing, honestly. Jeff Kirkendall was the one that led me to it. Obviously, he had gone through it. I've trained with Jeff for 7, 8 years now. He's been a very good mentor to me, and we had talked about this summer briefly, and then I had broken my wrist this past October, had surgery, and once he got word of it, he called me right up and said, hey, you need to go talk to this guy. And so, since I'd been familiar with it from him talking about it this past summer, and just kind of got his opinion on it, and going into it, I didn't know anything about the ARP whatsoever, but just because of how much I trust in him, and I know he's always got my best interest in mind, I thought it was going to be a good thing. And I had actually talked to my doctors down at the Job Clinic in Los Angeles, and they hadn't heard of it at all, but they said, as long as it's not going to hurt you, then go with your gut instinct if you think it's going to help you. So that's what I did, and I met with Paul in November when I came back from Thanksgiving break, and mentioned to him that I also had an ongoing back issue, and as well as a bicep tendon issue, and I said, can you help me out here? And he said, yes, absolutely. So we set up 10 sessions over Christmas break, which I have just completed as of the 31st of December, and here we are now.
So, after having gone through 2 sessions a day for over the last couple of weeks, which is impressive work on any level, and definitely becoming of a professional athlete as you are, as yourself, what are your responses? How does your body feel differently? How has your performance improved? If any at all, what are your thoughts and comments on Steadfast performance and how the ARPwave, the Jigsaw, and even the Mark Pro were all utilized in the process?
I mean, first of all, twice a day for 10 straight days is exhausting. It straight took it out of me, and Paul warned me about that going in. He said, look, like, this is not going to be easy. I mean, I'm only home for 2 weeks, so it's a short time, but if we want to get done what you would like to get done in terms of healing your body and strengthening your arm and your back and getting your wrist back to full health, then this is what's going to need to happen. So we had 4 sessions of wrist therapy laid out, followed by bicep tendon for the first 5 days, followed by a back session in the evening. So I did wrist and arm in the morning at 10 a.m., and I did my back every evening at 6 p.m. And the first 5 sessions were brutal, I have to be honest, and I was exhausted. I mean, usually I work out probably 5 to 6 days a week in the off season for training, and Paul straight up told me, like, look, you're not going to want to work out, and he was absolutely right. I was exhausted, spent by the end of the day, and took a recovery bath every night with hydrogen peroxide and Epsom salt in the bathtub just to help my body recover and get ready for the next session. So that part of it, especially the first 5 sessions, it was pretty exhausting, and I was, a little bit out of my element in terms of how tired I was, because usually I'm not this tired during the off-season. Usually my body feels good, and I'm ready to go full bore every day, and the ARP really showed me how strong of a machine it is and how much of an impact it has on your body. In terms of performance, I think the first really big result that I saw from the ARP was when I went through with my brother after my 5th session of the bicep tendon. I had Christmas Day as well as the 26th off, and then I went through in the afternoon of the 26th with my brother for the first time in a week. I hadn't thrown at all, and previously the farthest I'd ever thrown a baseball on a football field was 102, 103 yards. It would have been last summer when it was hot out, and I went out and on the 26th, it was probably 38, 40 degrees, wasn't warm at all. I didn't know how my arm was going to feel. Probably thought I was going to throw about 90 yards maybe, and I threw it 109 yards, almost 110, which is farther than I've ever thrown a ball in my life ever, and that was only through 5 sessions with the ARP. So that was just pretty much kind of the recovery phase in terms of healing my arm, and we hadn't even started the strength portion yet. I'm yet to even test my arm at this point after finishing the 10th session with the strengthening portion of the ARP. So that was what really opened my eyes. I texted my dad right away. I said I just threw the ball 110 yards, and he couldn't believe it. So that was huge for me. That was a huge boost of confidence and wanted me to keep going and finish these last 5 sessions. And the back for me was a big one too. I've been playing through this for a long time. I've kind of had chronic back problems throughout my baseball career, and I've done the physical therapy, the chiropractic care, massage therapy, all of that, and it mitigates it initially, but in the end it's going to come back just from a structure standpoint, just the way my body's been beat down just through all the years of playing. And like Paul said, I actually kind of downplayed it when I first met with him and didn't, I don't think, fully explain to him how severe this pain was, because I wasn't sure how big of an issue it really was until the ARP found how big of an issue it was. So after 10 sessions of, well, even after just 2 sessions of laying down doing the Superman with one leg up, one leg down for 10 minutes, I felt instant back relief, and it was amazing. And after 10 sessions with it, my back I can't remember the last time my back's felt this good, probably when I was in middle school or before I started like heavy training. I have no pain whatsoever. My back feels like it's in line. And in terms of my wrist feels great as well. I just started hitting this past week, and I think to put in perspective, my original doctor said, this can be a 6 to 8 month recovery before I even start feeling full functional use of my wrists again. And to put in perspective, I'm 6 weeks out of surgery, and I'm already feel like I'm at full strength with my wrist. I'm lifting heavy weights, I'm doing Olympic lifting, and I'm already probably 2 months ahead of where I'm supposed to be because of what I did with the ARP. So in terms of my wrist, my bicep tendon, my back, the results have been nothing short of amazing.
Okay, so for those people who watch this video, as a Roseburg native, Umpqua region star athlete, what would you say to people who are beginning to question either 1, an acute injury recovery, or 2, going through the strengthening portion for performance-based results? What would be your suggestions, comments, or anything you'd like to say?
There's always going to be skepticism with a machine like this because, 1, no one's heard of it. You go to any physical therapist, doctor in the area, they won't know anything about it. So naturally, there's going to be skepticism throughout the community with everyone you talk to. But, take it from me, I swear upon the results of this machine are, they're life-changing. And anyone with an acute injury, I wouldn't say my injury was necessarily acute or anything like that. My wrist was pretty severe coming off of surgery a month and a half ago. But in terms of how well this machine works and how, despite how much you think, because you're going to hear, first of all, with people who have done it, how painful it is. And I'm not going to lie, it really is truly, it transcends any type of pain I've ever felt. But once you can get over the mental barrier of that this thing isn't actually hurting you, it's helping you, I think that was the biggest part for me. I think after about session 3 or 4, I finally realized, look, this thing is actually helping me. It's not hurting me. And there's a big mental barrier to overcome there. So my advice to anyone who is about to start up on the ARP, just know, 1, that it's not for everyone. Like Paul said, it's tough. You'll really find out if you're emotionally driven or not. Because if you really want to get through this, there's a mental barrier that has to be overcome, and that's just the reality of it. And that's the reality of it with a lot of training that goes on in the athletic field.
All right, Cameron. Well, it was a pleasure to work with you. You're prior to being a Major League Baseball player, I wish you the best. It's been an honor to work with you. My children have loved being around you, and you are everything that this American pastime once was, and what it was for me when I was a young child, going to Yankee Stadium and feeling the dew on my cleats and the dirt on my hand from the infield. I love baseball, and it's a deep passion inside me. And the gentleman who trained me on this machine, Christopher Knott, baseball's a deep passion for him. So it's a great honor to work with an athlete as yourself, and I can't wait till one day we're all sitting in the stands as a family watching you use that wooden bat and hit it way out over center field, 450 feet, and we get to stand up as you walk the bases, jog the bases. congratulations on your success thus far, and thank you for your trust and your professionalism and great performance here.
Thanks, Paul. The pleasure is all mine.
Yep.